Hello, hello, hello. Cecile
Oh,
Armstrong, my special co-host today. Friend, have you danced into
hey,
that new music with me yet?
I haven't. This is my first time dancing into that with you.
All right, what
I
do you
like
think?
it.
You
I
like it?
like it. I
Okay.
like it.
It's a
Yeah.
little more chill than our last theme music, but
Mm-hmm.
in the current
Yeah.
state of the world, we felt
We
like
need that. Yeah.
feels like a
Yeah.
deep breath and a nourishing breath and a cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was
Mm-hmm.
going for. Is
I
that
felt it. I felt
okay,
it.
good. Good.
Yeah.
How are you, friend?
Girl, I'm good. I'm good. I am really leaning into going with the flow. Because you know how sensitive I can be, and I'm feeling all the things, and then family stuff and health stuff. So I'm really just trying to go with the flow and listen to my body and not push myself to overdo. And you know that me being a triple Virgo, that's hard.
Well, there's so much
So
editing to be done in the world. Yes, it is
so
hard.
much, so many details. So many details. Okay.
So many.
How are you?
Um,
How are you?
I am well. I thank you for we were on the phone when I got the news about Shannon, and you immediately were like, "Hey, I'll co-host with you." And
Hmm.
turns out to be in perfect alignment with our guest and what we're talking about today. So thank you first of all for saying yes. I
Ah,
was thrilled to be able to do this with you because we haven't done it in a
yes,
while. And
we
yeah,
haven't.
I am good. This week I fully landed back from the residency and from being
Hmm.
gone. I have to say I was a little sad. Dr. Phelps, she's one of our women connect was like, what goes up must come down sometimes. So I was like, all right. And I'm so grateful for my life and what I do in the world and things like that. But that was
Hmm.
such a magical time, and I'm really still working on, when you go through a big experience and integrating it,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
yeah. And I was raised to not allow myself to be sad. So it's a
Mm.
new thing for me to really just say, oh, hey, I was sad and not
Yeah.
judge it and not just be like, hey,
Yeah.
that's what I'm feeling right now. In
Hmm.
addition to the world, because that
Whew.
there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So just
There's a
naming
lot.
our feelings and breathing with it. And yeah, so
Yeah.
it's good
I'm
stuff.
excited about the show today.
All right. Well, let's do our official introduction and let's kick
Okay.
the show off. Let's do it. Here we
All right.
go. Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, best selling author and publisher, and a dancing social worker who helps you upgrade your self and community care. And today I have a special guest host.
Hey, y'all. I'm Cecile Armstrong. I'm a Black embodied social justice activist and the founder of Everyday Activism Habit, an online community where I guide people who are frustrated or confused about racism and oppression to let go of blame, shame, and guilt so they can make anti racism a habit.
And together, we're a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness. And we like to get together every week with special guests for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. And this week, we're talking about intellectual wellness. And under this topic, we talk about a lot of different things. And I'm really excited about our topic today. You want to do the definition for intellectual wellness?
I will. All right. Intellectual wellness includes having access to different sources of information and developing critical thinking and timely decision making skills. Also, continual learning through intentional intellectual growth, situations, and artistic creativity can help maintain one's intellectual capacity.
Ooh, I love that definition. I love that definition for so many reasons, right? Because I'm a
Yeah.
lifelong learner. But then when you
Mm-hmm.
put in there also the artistic creativity, like,
That part.
right?
Yeah.
What have you been working on? What have you been creating lately?
Oh my goodness. So, my aunt just passed like a little over a
Mm,
month ago, and I was going through my art stuff about a week ago and found this set. It was a set of 8 spoons, forks, and knives. They were wooden spoons,
mm,
forks, and knives in my um craft stuff. And so I just started painting them with this new paint set that I bought. And so I put a basic coat of one color for each set. And I've just started putting designs on them and playing around on this artboard that I have. It's going to end up being a little art or installation thing that I'm going to put up on the wall. So
I
yeah,
love
that's what I've been
that.
doing.
I love that. Will you say your aunt's name for us?
Brenda Carol Armstrong.
Brenda Carol Armstrong. We remember
Hmm.
you. I'm so
Yes, we
sorry for your
do.
loss.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. You know how I feel about ants. Ants are a big deal. And I know we're
Hmm.
still talking to them. And, my Aunt Joan was so present on this trip that I was on. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. Did I ever tell you the story of our last road trip together? I know you've heard about the story of the road trip, but did I
Uh-huh.
tell you about the part about when we were in Caprock Canyon and we saw the last remaining buffalo herd in Texas? And
Hmm.
so there was this baby buffalo, and my aunt was like, she loved animals and she loved, like, but she was like, it's so perfect. It doesn't look real. Doesn't look real. That
Hmm.
baby's got to poop for me to know it's real.
What was
So
up with your Aunt Joan in the pooping?
I know she was funny like that, right? So when I was on this trip, when I was in Washington, I saw this giant banana slug. And I mean, like
With
4 inches,
a
like
picture.
giant. I showed you, I like, you were not a fan. But I see this banana slug, and then one day, and they were in different places, right? Biggest slug I've
Hmm.
ever seen in my life. And I knew my Aunt Joan would just love it because it was weird and it was wild. And so I'm coming up one day from the beach, and on the boathouse, there's one on top of the ceiling. And I'm like, what is happening? Well, that banana slug was pooping. And I was like, thank you for that little message, Aunt Joan. I know it's weird. My family was.
That is
So I
weird.
got a little rainbow. Look, I got a little rainbow banana slug. For listeners that are listening and not watching, it's a 3D printed rainbow fidget toy that's a giant banana slug that I felt like was
Only you.
appropriate. Right?
Only
I
you.
felt like you have to have fun toys on your desk when you do Zooms and meetings and things like that. So,
Yeah.
well, if you're ready, I want to read our guest bio and get her up here because I am so
Hmm.
looking forward to this conversation.
Oh,
All
me
right.
too.
All right, let's do it. All right, friends. Aisha Love is a multidimensional guide, speaker, and author who walks with healers, empaths, and visionaries as they awaken into deeper alignment with their soul's essence. I have to pause on that. That's just such a beautiful statement.
Hmm.
She walks with
Hmm.
healers, empaths, and visionaries as they awaken into deeper alignment with their soul's essence. Her journey began in 2008 when her father's passing initiated a profound metaphysical awakening. She began working as a spirit medium and channel, eventually evolving into her current work as a metaphysician, helping others navigate their own spiritual awakening, healing, and soul remembrance. Help us welcome to the show, Aisha Love.
Hey, Aisha.
Hey, lovely to be here, ladies.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad you're
Thank
here.
you. Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
All
I
right.
love the energy here.
How do you feel about banana slug poop as a sign from the other
I
side?
just love it. It took me
Okay.
right back to where everybody was on the ceiling in Mary Poppins because they were laughing.
Right?
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. Because it was so obvious to me. I was like, hello. And it was just funny.
I
And
tell you,
it's
spirit's got to keep us laughing here because it can be hard here, right? Like keep us
Hmm.
coming, keep the levity coming.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know all about your profound awakening and how you started doing this work before we start talking about shadow work.
Yeah, you
Hmm.
bet. Well, it's like, how did this work find me? Because I
Mm-hmm.
certainly did not go looking for it. Obviously, had a soul plan to be raised in the intellect, the Cartesian worldview, evidence-based, etc. So when my awakening came for me, it was quite the disruption to my status quo. And what started out to be kind of this what I thought was a figment of my imagination just kept crescendoing into repeated direct experience that I could no longer deny. So the very specific example is that when my father became ill with lung cancer in 2008, I received what felt like a direct transmission, it like descended and came down almost like this. And it was almost like a knowing, a voice. It wasn't really a voice, but it was a knowing and a thought. And it said a statement, really. He will not be staying. And something in me recognized the truth in that. Like, of course, yes, I already know that. And then my humans kind of going, who's having all this conversation? You all seem to know what's going on. And that's a little bit odd, but then the knowing took over. So I cleared my schedule, made a lot of time. What we didn't know that his oncologist had said, you're going to beat the cancer. We got a plan. Underneath that, he had an underlying condition called the widowmaker that came on from experimental radiation treatment he had had at MD Anderson in the 60s when he had been diagnosed with a terminal Hodgkin's diagnosis. And they gave it everything they could with experimental radiation, but it was too much. So it thickened the heart wall. All these years later, he's got the widowmaker underneath that. So then it all made sense once he passed. But the day that he passed, I was in the ICU with him in Missoula, Montana, and I clearly perceived his childhood friend Gary behind him in the hospital room, who had died 6 months before. And I just went through the knowing again. Gary's here for Dad. I told everybody, I think it's time to say goodbye. Everybody said goodbye. And then he left. And when he left, I had what's called a shared near-death kind of experience with him. Like I kind of went partway with them. And I had the full lifetime review of our shared memories together in that. It was really, really precious. But yeah, then I descended into the typical, like, what just happened? We didn't know that was coming. It was shock. It was grief. But then he started showing up a few days later. I thought I was making it up. He persisted. And then other spirits started showing up, and other people who had started talking to me. And I was like, what's going on? And make a long story short, I threw myself into what I discovered was an ability for mediumship, and made a huge difference in a lot of people's lives when I realized this is not my gift to sit on and withhold. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
How long, I know this is a random question, but how long did it take you to accept it?
I'm still working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was going to be my question.
Work in progress. I would say to accept it, to say, hey, you should probably develop, see if there's anything to this to develop, was a year and a half. And then a good friend's daughter was getting ill, and that was my first time outside of my own family, that I played a role in delivering a message from spirit once I believe she was 13 at the time when she passed. So then I worked in a mediumship development circle, and it was like, oh yeah, no, this is a thing. And then it just kind of went from there. Yeah. But it's an ongoing process, because I didn't get to just stay a spirit medium. It went from there, and it went extra dimensional and beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond. And it still keeps going, where I'm out on this edge of how I would phrase it now is helping the human race evolve through multidimensional intertech transfer and shadow work and the body's consciousness. We're going to talk all about this, I think, tonight. But basically, my jam has always been, since the age of 15, human evolution. I just didn't understand the context in which I would be applying it. And it's everything in terms of geometries and base codes, working at the template level to restore wholeness. Healing to me is wholeness out of a state of fragmentation and chaos. And it's the intelligence of loving coherence. That's an amazing intelligence.
So for some of our listeners, this may be the first time they're hearing these words. And so we are going to link some resources and thing in our show notes. And I definitely have a story I want to tell you in a little bit about geometry and travel and things like that, because it just came to me when you were saying that. But first, I want to start with just when we say, what is shadow work? What is your definition of that for folks you work with?
Yeah. So, and I will say, I haven't formally studied any of this. It all came through the unified field. All of a sudden, I find myself doing parts work, or what I recognize is called parts work. And I think it's because I'm tapping the unified field, and then the work is naturally emerging in the zeitgeist at the divine kind of right time where the collective happens to be in its evolution. And so I just want to preface everything I'm saying with this all comes from my own direct experience with the unified field. And then, of course, in session work with clients and watching it all kind of prove out there, it has been amazing. So we are in a collective, this is what I was saying before we got on, we're in a collective shift that we're ready for now out of the spiritual bypass, i.e., pursuing transcendent states, which in and of itself is a beautiful thing. To go into a peaceful, expanded, blissful, transcendent state is a wonderful feeling. And compared to, let's just say, where a lot of humanity, might just be in the mind or in repetitive worries and having no mindfulness, right? So John Kabat-Zinn bringing mindfulness forward as a foundational step to really grow self-awareness. We needed that first. We needed greater self-witnessing. Then we are like, wow, we can have these expanded states. We can find inner peace and calm. But what we didn't recognize is that without intending to do so, we're bypassing and excluding the body. And the body, and I talk to the body in sessions every day, so I will tell you, it does not sound anything like the soul. And it just feels on the outside of a lot of this. And this is why I think we're watching a lot of spiritual gurus do their fall from grace, because how could they be so conscious and facilitate expansive states for people, with people, but then their human is capable of egregious breaks in integrity? And, what is that all about? I had a health event in Italy last fall where I was in excruciating pain and then exalted states of bliss at the end of the week. And then really sitting with this question, how can we go so expansive? How can I do this amazing multidimensional field work I do, but then go so dysregulated? How can the body be so not integrated with this? And that's where I've been the last 6 months. This is this long answer to give you the context for what is shadow work and the way I approach it. Shadow is all of the wounding that, just like we inherited, eye color, hair color, we inherited ancestral trauma, sometimes compounded trauma, and pain and shame that none of our ancestors could ever complete the expressive arc of to resolve. And now we are all beginning to feel it, especially those of us who signed on for this, to do this work. I was going to say consciously, but I almost want to say semi-consciously, right? Because it's like,
right.
like, wait, what's going on? And
it feels like now that we're here, it's like no take backs. Like if we're in it, and you're like, wait a second, I don't think I do right.
No. Like I didn't read the fine print.
I know. I was like, did I have to take on all the extra credit? Yeah. So it's really looking at being, and here's really specific to answer the question of what is shadow work in this context. It's not to just know about that wounding. It's to be with that pain that is now expressing itself because it's beginning to realize it's in a safe enough container that can hold it and can meet it without trying to minimize it, make it go away, make it better, and just allow it to fully, finally express and be validated, seen, and loved, and begin to remember itself as love if it wants to. But we're not going to strong arm the body, because good luck with that. That's not going to go anywhere.
Okay, that was a lot. Go ahead, Cecile. You go first, and then I'll go.
Okay. I was just going to say that I wanted to circle back to what you were saying about the bypassing, because there is, how do I say this? There are just so many folks that I do. A lot of the work that I do, even though it's spiritual, it's also, political. I'm an activist. I combine the two. I started off doing a meditation group that turned into like a political meditation group, and so we were doing politics and, meditation and astral projection and all the things. And I come across this bypassing so often that people feel good when they're doing the meditation and they're having out of body experiences and stuff. And then they want to forget about the things that are happening on the ground and they think, or they say that, what happens down there doesn't really matter. It's all about what's happening. It's all about what's happening up here. And then they forget about the bodies that are left behind and the people who are being harmed and where we started with trying to protect folks. And they're like, oh no, I'm just going to stay up here because it feels better.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old dissociation. Yeah. And in the shamanic tradition, we would be doing soul retrieval to get you back here. Like, whoa, you know, I get it. Fly away, fly far, far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, well, what I can frame up for you in my own discovery is that we're kind of a 3-part system to kind of reduce this, because obviously we're incredible multidimensional beings and there's a lot going on there. But soul or soul collective, whatever level of soul kind of, you know, framework you've got animating this body and working through this body, it has its own consciousness. The body has a separate consciousness. And then we have our greater source self-remembering, which is kind of like the grandparent in the room that just loves everybody, no matter what. we forget about that part. And the soul comes in with its mission and it's so excited. It's like, I'm going to incarnate into a human form on this planet called Earth. And I'm going to do all this awesome stuff. I work with a lot of the world's healers with that kind of mission. And then they're in an ancestral body. And most of the human families on the planet are not high-level initiated Essenes, for example. So they have not been through mystery schools and faced all their fears and all of that. We're working with raw survival patterns that ensured the survival of that family line in the near term, but often ends up with dis-ease that kills it in the longer term. And so the body will sound like your least evolved family member. And so this is where I try to really help people understand that you're judging that family member. Your body shares the same biological material and it hears everything. And when we finally get it talking, it's pretty salty. It's like, you all are smoking crack. I don't know what you're doing. And if you can get, like, a lot of people think that they're listening to the body, but what they're really doing is talking down to the body and condescending to the body. Actually let it start talking to you. It will come out of nowhere. All of a sudden you'll hear it speak to you and you'll go, whoa. And that didn't come from your intellect. It didn't come from your soul. It's coming straight from the body. I'll give you an example from my own life. Yesterday, I was sitting and all of a sudden my body just went, because I'm used to, my body knows I'm safe enough to, like, she's going to actually listen to me and not judge this. And it said, you know, if you get more visible and more successful, I use that term, we're gonna get left behind. You know that, right? Like, and it's this other part. It's like this is the ancestral body who has a self-concept that is outside of all of that. And when I look at my ancestors up the line, I see that. And so it was like, wow, okay, thanks for letting me know that's how you feel. And we'll work with that. Let's talk about that. And I want you to know that you're welcome all the way along here. And I will never ask you to perform or mask or hide that ever. That you're allowed to just stay that vulnerable, that have that bit of feeling like you're exiled in shame. And I'm not going to ask you to change that if you don't want to. And I won't try to hide it. And this is where we start to get out of performance and masking and all the things, is when see, my body really likes it. It's like, damn it, you are serious about this. Like, I didn't fully believe me. It's like, let's see.
I love that. And now you just said it live. So your body's like, oh, live with that. So, okay, I have a question for our listeners that are listening that are like, how do you even begin the process of listening to your body? Because Cecile and I have one modality. I know there's a lot. What do you do with your clients to just start that conversation?
So my field is constantly communicating to a person's body behind the scenes. They're talking. I'm listening to the body, and the body's talking to me. So be like, see, she doesn't listen to me. She doesn't listen. I'm like, right, okay. So it is kind of like playing a marriage counselor between your body and your soul's consciousness. It's like ready to go and do all this stuff. The way that you could do it on your own is to pay attention to what you're feeling. And if you're like a lot of family lines, you're used to trying to get away from that or shove it or like perform around it, or the classic bypass is to just stop, drop, and feel and be like, whoa, I felt that. What is that? And then let it come forward more, and then be quiet. Don't say anything. Just listen, wait. Sometimes in sessions, I have to wait and wait and wait. And then finally the body's like, fine, I'll say something. And then once we get to talking, it's like, it's just like, imagine a person who has been ignored for decades. They're not going to just start talking right away. They need some space to be heard. So carving time out of every morning, every evening, whatever works for you, to just sit with the body and be like, okay, body, I'm here. Maybe you need to journal and like just let the body talk to you that way, like automatic writing, like you would spirit. Like give the body a consistent daily platform in which to communicate with you. Not, I have to emphasize this, and there is a lot of energy on this, so I can tell this is where a lot of people still must be at. Not you trying to talk to the body. Yeah. It's like, I can hear it in the field. The body's like, yeah, I've had enough of that. I can talk that all day long.
Yeah.
It's the way it's being phrased right now, it's like all the inconvenient little thoughts that you wish you didn't have, because that's inconvenient. Like I want to do my thing in the world. Like what is that? It's to stop, drop, and feel all of it and hear it. And this is then where we have to be careful, because you don't want to just drop into the story completely with it and live from that place completely to just enable that. It's more getting now the body to be like, do you hear what you're saying and how it makes you feel? Yeah, well, duh. Yeah. That's how it is. That's just the way it has to be. It'll sound like that for a while.
Okay, so not to call anybody out or call any names, but if your body was consistently giving you the message to rest and you were ignoring it or powering through, like how do we change that? How do we change when you get a message that you tell me what you're getting.
This is such a great question, and you're about to see why.
Okay.
That feeling of you need to rest and the overriding it and over-functioning and over-performing is built into most of the ancestral race lines on the planet, family lines. We must over-function or we will be exiled. We will not survive. So it's actually the body perpetrating the over-functioning, okay? So the body itself believes that it has to over-function. And you'll spend a lot of time hearing the body defend that position initially when you get talking to it. Here's a good one, like a classic one I come across a lot. And then, of course, this was my own experience that I thought I had really balanced myself out until my kidney burst in Italy in November. Even my body now has the memo. 2 catheters, friends, 2 catheters. I was like, my body's like, yeah, we're not doing that. We don't need to do that anymore. We started to go sepsis, septic, like my body really, really got the memo. The doctors were like, you're going to probably be here months. Fortunately, healing abilities and calling in all my friends and clients from around the world, I was out in under a week. But believe me, I really, really got the memo so that I could do this work at a different level. So the body itself is perpetrating we have to override. We can't rest. We won't survive. We'll be kicked out of the tribe. I've heard it all. Okay. It's better to receive than give. It's the martyr. We got to really prove that we're worthy. There's a lot of religious programming in here that's in the ancestral programming. And so now we're working with the body's defenses and logic. And sometimes in sessions, then I'm constantly working with a person's spirit team and guides, and they're like, say this. And then I'm like, wow, that was brilliant. Here's an example. Well, we can't ask others for help because we don't want to be a burden. It's the worst thing in the world to be a burden. Okay, follow you, totally get it. That totally makes sense. Got to pull your own weight, got to do all your things. So let me just show you something, body, though. Like where you're headed, you're going to be bedridden and they're going to have to take care of you. Body gets horrified. Oh my God, What do I have to do to change that? So you have to appeal to the value system of the body. And this is where if that daily practice of listening to the body is not cultivated, I watch a lot of healers jump right into thinking that they can change this because they don't have that value system. But until the body makes the switch, the body's consciousness makes the switch, buys into a different way. This is why so many looping patterns keep going and people keep getting frustrated. Why does this keep repeating? It's this. It's the underpinning, mad respect for the body. It survived for a soul to even incarnate into. But now it's like, is it willing to start to look at things and reframe things a different way? So sometimes it feels like negotiating with a terrorist at times. That's what it feels like. You're not giving it over until I see what, until I can. And then ultimately what I will say is the body is way behind the soul and soul matrices on remembering that it is a fractal of source love. So it's just very early days of that. And so meeting all of that pain with love, not judgment, not you have to change that right away. Just love is the only way you'll get your body to trust you.
Whoa, it sounds so simple, but that's big work. Especially for the culture huge. We're raised in, and especially as women, which, we do have non-binary and male listeners, but, the majority of our women are like, this is a big deal. Like, I felt it as it landed in my body. I was like, whoa.
Initially, I was really tired in client sessions when this work began. And I asked my team, like, why is that? And they said, you're having to build a whole new neural net. It's like learning a whole new language to be able to hear the body, translate it, talk, I was like, so yeah, but what I'm hearing right now is a little goes a long way. It's kind of like when you're in a foreign country and you don't expect them to speak your language and you make an effort, that goes a long way. So us being willing to really try to hear and learn the body's language, not talk down to it or condescend to it or see, because I hear people say all the time, like, I was listening to my body. I'm like, no, what you're doing is telling the body what you think it's feeling. You can imagine how that goes.
I'm noticing, what I'm noticing is that this is opposite of a lot of what I hear. When people are talking about doing any kind of high level work, a lot of times they just completely ignore the body. I was actually sharing with Christine that I want to go on a silent weekend as a way of healing from another one. I did a 10-day silent retreat and had a seizure while I was there. And, you're not supposed to talk. Nobody's supposed to touch anybody. So nobody helped me. And when I came out of it and was like confused and was, kind of asking for help, I didn't get any. And when we were able to talk and people talked back to me, they said, that's what your body experienced. So it was your spiritual experience, and just totally disregarded what happened with my body. And that was at a 10-day Vipassana thing. And so, I'm comparing what you're saying about paying attention to the body and listening to what the body needs versus like this experience with these folks who I thought were going to be more kind.
Safe and kind.
Yeah, safe and kind, because I wouldn't think that someone who was, touting themselves as, okay, you're going to come here and have this spiritual experience would just ignore you when you were having a medical emergency.
Well, I was going to say this facetiously, but that doesn't feel right in my heart to do that. So I will just validate what you experienced as there's a huge bypass gaslighting going on from kind of the non-dualistic tradition of the body is just an illusion. It's just Maya, it's just a dream. You can imagine how the body experiences that.
Yeah.
As a recalcitrant teenager, like, yeah. If you
Right.
think I'm just a dream, let me trash this and show you.
Right. Well, and what's fascinating is, without calling anyone out specifically, I don't think I need to at this point, but like we've had so many gurus fall from grace because they're human. They're all that cultural, religious, even gender, social programming distortion and wounding has never been addressed. And so their human is acting out from those places in even predatory ways, certainly at times even malicious, whether it's conscious or unconscious, it doesn't matter. And so we're in a, I'm trying to do this as like just matter of factly, but gently as possible to say, hey guys, everyone, it's time for a much greater accounting of what are we really doing and what is integrated, what is not. And I mean, I laugh because I love shadow work. If you looked at my astrology chart, you'd be like, oh, well, of course you're here for that. It's all stacked over in Scorpio, right? It's like just walk in a room and my whole life, all the shadow gets triggered. I watch it happen, right? So I love it, but I recognize that for most people, the idea of like, let's look at all the ways in which I'm unconsciously being an asshole in the world, like not exactly the most exciting thing to sign up for, except that we will increasingly be repeating the same patterns, being brought to our knees. Things will not be working. And I'm watching this, I've had to go through, I don't know how many deconstructions of my own life so far, because it was all wounded motivation that came with the ancestral body. So we're all in refinement, and it's important, especially for those of us who claim to be spiritual guides, to really, really do our work. So back to what you experienced, Lucille, I'm sure that you gave yourself that file in a way so you could speak exactly to this and know this firsthand. And like, if you were to ask your body, what is it feeling as a result of that experience? That's where I would let the body just tell you all about it. And God, like whoever's listening, the body's not going to sound really analytical, like, well, and this isn't, it's not going to explain it all. It's going to sound like this.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm lonely. I don't know what's coming. I'm terrified. It's going to sound like that.
Can we take a breath?
Yes. Let's take a breath.
Yeah.
This is really powerful.
It is.
Yeah, I want to make sure that my field is here in support of everyone listening. There you go. Like, just set a whole bunch of stuff down right now that you've been carrying around and your ancestors have been carrying around. Just set it down. There you go. And you get to be raw and vulnerable. And you don't need to be the adult in the room. You don't have to carry that. There you go. So my field is helping shift. I can feel a lot moving from the heart center for a lot of people. Just all that parentification down the lines. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, and what's cool is I can feel the field lightening. So things are clearing for people. And then I want to let everyone know where this is going, because otherwise this can seem like, oh my God, like this is intense work. What's the purpose? As you lighten and clear and let all this start to shift, we return to our natural state. What did children naturally do? They naturally play. And I was shown years ago at a hot spring in Montana, the primary principle of creation is not survival. It's creation. It's play. And so we're creating the new playgrounds, and we're starting to touch them. I can feel them when we're in them, because it's like, wow, it feels so fun here. But for, like, I'm sure everyone knows this, like who listens to your podcast, because right, they're self-aware. We can't play when we don't feel safe.
Right.
So this is all about getting the safety so that we actually feel heard. The body doesn't feel talked over. It doesn't feel like it's inconvenient, and that its pain is somehow terribly inconvenient. Right.
Yeah.
just being able to be a witness with yourself and then with others starts to change the reality fields into
I
something much
love that.
Yeah.
Now, I have a clarifying question because
Yeah.
we're talking about listening to the body, and then we're also talking about shadow work. Like, so two separate things, same thing?
thing.
Okay.
Same
So-
thing. In fact, I would say the majority of shadow is the ancestral body's wounding.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's starting in the physical. It's starting in our cells and it's the memories, it's the epigenetics, it is all of that. And that's what we have to shine the light on and
That's
look
right.
at or stay
That's
with.
right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, a classic, like, why did you become an overachiever?
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
where did that stem from? The overperforming for love. It's in the body itself. And the body will tell you things like, you know, if you don't do that, you're going to get left behind. And maybe quite literally, like my body early on, I spent every morning for months with my body after Italy. And one morning my body was like, well, we have to be in shape and you got to be strong. And I was this athlete, like, you know, my whole life. And all of a sudden I saw it. I was like, or we're literally going to get left behind. That may be a hominid species of human where they literally left you behind if you just couldn't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So to the body, it's just like, hey, this is a no-brainer. Pun intended.
That was a great pun, Body. Thank you very much.
And
It
so
really-
I was just going to say it's very novel to the body that there's something else besides just sheer survival going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This has taken me back to years ago. Like, I did some work with a teacher, Shona Bellus, who did sacred geometry, like behind you. And we did a lot of this clearing work and sitting work with, and I remember like I was in it for about a year. And then finally I just had to come up for air and say, okay, I have to stop this because I gotta but it really did do some huge work, huge work. And I guess my question is when you're working with clients, like how do you go in and out of it? Because it can be, if you're just starting on this journey, it can be a lot. Like, what do you recommend about that rhythm or that pattern?
Yeah, I think, well, it obviously it helps to be met by someone who's met themselves very deeply in this way, right? That makes a huge difference. And then I do feel like I need to come back because my team's like, say that. It can feel like you're an island, like you're alone doing a lot of this, but you're becoming the hub of a wheel as you commit to this practice. And they're showing me as all this starts to grow, this is important what you're doing, you know, on it seemingly on your own initially, kind of like a unicorn, but it's going to just, I'm being shown like, I studied forestry and wildfire would be like, there's spot fires that start out and then they all just combine into, that's what I'm being shown in the field. So that feels really important to make sure that that message comes through because it was trying to come through earlier. So to start with, it's that kind of like if anyone who's worked on a mindfulness practice, you just begin by practicing mindfulness techniques. And this time it's more like there's somebody in the corner of your house that's always been there and you just kind of always ignore them. It's like stopping and just being like, did you want to say something? That's what this is like with the body. And just being like, did you want to say anything? And just being quiet long enough and then letting the body start to come forward with. But see, what I'm being shown right now that would be helpful for everyone to understand is the body won't be very forthcoming initially because it's been so used to being overlooked that it has all its old ways. And maybe there's a victim story that's in the ancestral line. Oh yeah, we just can't ever nothing ever works out for us, or we got to struggle. It's like, no, we can never, that's not for us. Right. And so it's in its story too. So once it does get talking, it's going to probably be in one of its stories that your soul probably finds terribly inconvenient and doesn't want to hang out there and judges. And so the soul's got to like just sit over here. Like I literally feel like I have to be like, soul, I just need to just sit over here for a minute and let's really let the body have the floor. Right. Now to where you're going with that question, it can start to build because now the deeper levels of pain will start to come through. And this is what I'm seeing with a lot of the healers I'm working with. Now, granted, you know, I was going to say they've got this isn't their first rodeo, so they're pretty practiced. But even for them, even for myself, I include this. Sometimes I kind of scratch my head and go like, I think I may have had some hubris at the soul level. I think I may have bitten off more than I could chew in this lifetime. Like, did I really think I can do this? Oh my goodness. But I'm telling you, as I'm laughing about that, the way that I'm able to do it now is that I'll use myself as an example. I'm overriding a lot of the ancestral patterns of hyper independence, lone wolf. I have to just do this all on my own. Oh yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm overriding that big time, on the phone constantly, reaching out to people in a way I never used to because the body was in the story. No one cares. You just have to do this on your own. Better to just do it on your own. For other people's bodies, I've heard things like, we're going to end up owing people. We can't owe people things. You can't count on people anyway. They always let you down. It's these type of stories. So once you get going, there will be more and more ancestral pain that comes through. And that's, I would say, to answer your question, start to build your community now. Start to build your, it's really community. It's like an SOS call. In the circles I've run in for years, because I've played in a lot of Galactica and ET stuff, and I made a video about David Wilcock. I don't know if you ladies know who he is, but he recently completed. And so I made a big public service announcement using myself as an example, because I know exactly what that can get to be like, to be in your lone wolf, hyper independent isolation. Like, I have to carry this all on my own. And you know, no judgment, but that's kind of where most of the people I work with end up, is in extreme self-isolation, because they tend to be the empaths, the feelers, the sensitives, and they can carry a room and see everyone else and then don't feel that in return. And that can be a very isolating experience. So that's a long answer to your question, but I'm trying to make sure I touch on everything I'm being shown to.
Thank you. And I want to ask, speaking directly to that, to our empaths, to our healers, if that is going on, if they're feeling alone or unsupported, I heard you say build community, which is what we're all about at Women Connected in Wisdom, and believe that it is powerful medicine. Is there anything else that you would say to them about if they're struggling with that isolation?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll preface what I'm about to say with the fact that what I've seen is a lot of them have taken the brunt of their family's projections and, you know, kind of getting emotional blasting from the family. So they did not get seen. They did not get their needs met. And they've done the best they could, and they've compensated the best they could their whole lives. And so the pain of that child in you, I'm sorry you had to experience that. You did not deserve that. And you deserve to be happy, and you are loved. And you are going to remember that you are love. And that's what all the children need to hear now.
Cecile, your mic's off. I saw you saying something.
I said, "Oh yeah."
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was when she said all the children need to hear that, I was just thinking about all the children right now that are like in the middle of wars that they just need to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the children in these adult bodies.
Mm-hmm.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just we're validating the body's pain before we try to make it go away. It has to complete its feeling, and it may be a while. I'm in discovery right now. I don't know if the pain, I mean, this pain in some cases is thousands of years old.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some of it compounded.
Yeah.
And it needs a safe place to actually be allowed to feel it. And here's the trick, without completely collapsing into the story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're learning, we're remembering, we're playing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How do we look at our stories, feel what it feels like to be in our story, and then the body's getting more self-awareness and making its own choices at a different level.
I was really receiving on this 3 weeks when I sat down and listened and was playing in a beautiful playground, but also listening and paying attention. I was really receiving about releasing old stories. So in some ways it felt really simple, like to just sit with it and acknowledge it, and I did a little ritual and things like that. And then there's this other part of me, I have to tell you, that I think is the brain part that's like, "Are you sure? Like, was that too simple?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
but these have been stories that I've been doing this work for 20, 30 years. So it's not like it just showed up today and I was like, "Oh, I'm done with it," right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, here's what the body often sounds like. "Oh, bless your heart."
Right? Especially we're from the South.
You're so naive if you think that you're gonna survive here with that, but you guys go ahead, talk in your airy fairy land over there. Meanwhile, I'll be over here holding down the fort and making sure we survive. And souls literally can come and go. You've probably heard of walk-ins, walk-outs of souls, whereas the body's consciousness is pretty much, it's here, it's tied to the body, and the body in an interesting way returns to the one faster than the soul does, because the soul's out incarnating across many different forms, many different dimensions, and a body just is returning back to the oneness of this carbon-based planet that we're on and recycling. It's in some ways a bit more of a raw kind of, consciousness, and yet it has the capability to begin to see itself in new ways, change its self-concept if it wants to, if it sees the value in that. And that's where the soul can get pretty haughty, because it's like, it just thinks it knows. It's like, don't you see? It's obvious. And the body's over here laughing like, you don't know shit. Like,
right. One of our practices in interplay is to really, we do something and then we notice. We take a moment to just listen and notice, to, what's the sensation? What's the feeling? Yes. What's the word? What's the, sometimes I call it the body in the back, the voice in the back seat, right? What? Yes. Yeah.
What else is in here?
Right? Right. Yeah. And allowing the spaciousness for that. Because, sometimes we're so busy just going. I mean, myself included, and I know this practice, but, it's like allowing that spaciousness to hear.
The phrase that keeps coming through is to allow ourselves the space and grace. And it is kind of like a part-time job right now. I'm sure there was no coincidence in the timing today, but I went to a coffee shop. I was working on some projects, and I got hit with a grief bomb, and I just had to go home and go to bed and sob and let it all through. And I and yes, there was a part of me that was like, well, this is inconvenient. I had all these things I was gonna get done. I'm like, wait a minute, you gotta do it. This is what we're actually doing here, is having the courage to feel what our ancestors couldn't. I come from German stock. Good old stoic, just shove it all down. What feelings, So yeah, I have my work cut out for me.
I want to notice something right now. In a lot of the spirit groups that I'm in, the body is seen as something to overcome, and the spirit and the soul has so much more power. And I've been told, you feel too much, that's your weakness. And I'm listening to you now, and you're talking about, your body is carrying these epigenetics of generations, and it's like how powerful that is versus, the soul speaking from this high level, down to the body. And I'm noticing the how that's landing for me, because it is so different from what I've heard from other spaces. I'm gonna have to sit with this for a while. I'm just noticing how this is landing with me, and it's landing like truth. It's landing like, oh yeah, of course my body is powerful. Of course my body remembers. Of course my my genes and my ancestors' genes and all the of course. That's why this stuff is why you leaning forward like that at me?
Because girl, I'm keeping my eyes at you because I've been her bestie for a couple of years, and I'm like, girl, your body is one of the most powerful bodies I know.
I know.
And is like.
I know my body is like, my body speaks to me very clearly,
and her body is not quiet about it either.
It's not quiet, and I don't always listen. I listen sometimes. I don't always listen. A lot of times I do say I don't have time for that right now, but then other times I will be like, okay, I'm gonna just sit and whatever you got to say. But I'm just I don't even know what the word is right now, because this is the first time that I'm hearing that the body can be more powerful than what the spirit or the soul is saying. The spirit and the soul can do whatever, but the body is just as powerful, if not more powerful, because of all of the intergenerational stuff. And so, I was sitting here being quiet and I'm writing notes, and then I had to stop writing because I was just like, what did you just say? Yeah. So I just wanted to notice that.
Yeah, thank you. Equal partners.
Yeah.
No hierarchy. Souls think they don't play in hierarchy. Oh, but they do. Mm-hmm. So that thing of we're a spirit having a human experience. How about we are a human accommodating a spirit?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there is incredible amounts of instinctual survival wisdom in the body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is
anybody that's ever been a death doula or been with somebody when they've transitioned knows that to be fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like knows that our bodies are, or just what you've named that you've just been through recently.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And if we look at us as part of nature and we see other animals do it, why would we think we were different?
Right.
Because other animals do things on instinct. There's no way that things can be passed down if you're abandoned at birth, and then you still know how to migrate and how to do all the things.
Now you're going to get me really geeky out here. Okay, so I always gravitate towards things that then like start to reflect back. So out of nowhere, quote unquote, right, air quotes here, I start watching the show Long Lost Family out of the UK about adoptees reconnecting with birth mothers and sometimes siblings, and studies that have been done on identical twins. So for the multidimensional template work that I do, it really proves that out. How do you explain identical twins separated at birth who end up naming their children the same name, buying the same car, make, and color? It's a template of instructions. It's the same, right? What's coming through. So the fact that the body has that and it keeps getting passed is where now the body's willingness to become self-aware at a whole new level versus just being in its survival story. That's where you got to work with your body. It's like, and again, it's going to be working with what a lot of healers would see as their least evolved family member, the one that's like, oh God, Aunt Sheila is like, so not, she's not awake. Like, wait a minute. If you start from a place of judgment, that's not unconditional love.
Yeah.
So you get curious. It's like, what are those stories that are just floating around that you keep hearing your body say? And the other thing I would say, Cecile, thanks for bringing up the point of like, this is not what we hear. We hear the opposite. Like, my body's a meat suit and blah, 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 right? All the things. I am definitely guilty of that in the past. Here's the question I would ask. So how's that working for you?
Right.
Yeah, this is why so many people are watching like similar patterns repeat, and like I can't seem to wait a minute, what's going on? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like the other analogy I've used is like riding a horse. So soul would be the rider, the horse is the body. And if the rider's on the horse, yelling at the horse and kicking it and being like, why don't you go? Come on, we have all this stuff to do. And I've watched bodies snarkily be like, I'm gonna walk in circles, like. Right. I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Right. You got stuff to do. I'm going to go lay down for a week. I'm going to get the flu. I'm going to Oh.
And then, all the kidding aside, ultimately where all fractals of source in whatever form, whatever dimension, want to find their way home back to themselves as source, love now. So we do have that working in our favor, and desperately your body underneath all that vitriol really wants that too, but it doesn't think that it is that. It doesn't remember that yet. And when we start getting it close to remembering that, it starts to do things like, really? Me? And then sometimes it just wants to shut it down, be like, no, that can't be right. And I have to go back to the old stories and the old ways. But then once we really let it come into that, it's watch out. It's just a whole new game. It's a whole new game.
Aisha, every week we do, and I feel like we could keep talking for hours, but I've got one eye on the clock and I know we're out of time. But every week we do what we call a wisdom in action. And we, first of all, just want to say thank you for sharing your wisdom and I really do. I'm like, okay, when can we book you again? Because we got to have further conversation because we haven't even touched on like the geometry or anything like that. But what we also want to know is, what are you doing this week for your intellectual wellness? What are you, if you were to put it in a hashtag or a couple of words, what are you doing for yourself this week?
Yeah. It would be hashtag, morning coffee with myself. Really sitting with what is arising before I jump into the day and the stuff. It's just, what is that? What is that? What is that background enervation? What is that something? What is that? And making myself my number one priority. All that, whatever wants to come up in the morning before anything else.
Ooh, I love that. Cecile, what about you? What's your wisdom in action this week?
Oh my gosh, I've got so many things that are popping up for me right now. Let me choose one. I think what I just did. I think breathing into my body and seeing what comes up. That breath right there just was like I felt my body just pause and like, yeah, that's what I want.
I love that.
My body is still humming from feeling like being told that it's an equal to my spirit. My body is still like, what did she say?
My work here is done. Mic drop. I love that. Well, I think I would hashtag this week, hashtag space and grace, because I love the way you said that. Giving my body space and grace to be heard. And that was big. That we don't, so often we think we have to do something. But just the sitting and listening and the space and grace to pay attention is powerful.
Yeah, and to emote and to let it out. Yeah. Right.
Well, like you said that you have a grief bomb, and what you got, Cecile?
Oh, you know me. When she said emote, I was just like, because you know me. I've swallowed my tears for years, so I'm relearning how to cry.
Right. And that's a thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for doing it, because that's the hub of the wheel I was shown earlier. You're going to give permission for everyone else to actually be, we have the buzzword vulnerable. What is vulnerable? It's just honest. Babies don't go, I'm going to be vulnerable and cry because I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Feed me. I love that. Aisha, will you tell our listeners how, we will have it in our show notes, but for those that are listening, will you tell them how to find you, how to work with you, what you have, how you work with people before we close the show?
Yeah, you bet. Well, the first thing I just want to invite people to do is go pick up, there's a daily grounding and clearing meditation gift on my homepage, multidimensional the letter u.com. It's changed people's lives, because as empaths and feelers, we're carrying around a lot of stuff for a lot of people, and it's getting all the dust bunnies and helping clear all that out, and it'll make you feel so much better. And then you can really sort through, okay, what is now mine? And then I have another free gift on my site called Awaken Your Whole Self. And that's just, it's a way to go into light touch with the beginning of your shadow work and being with your shadow at a very gentle, compassionate level. But it's really hard to do that when you've got a whole bunch of swirl going on. So I can't say enough about the psychic hygiene. We wash our hands and brush our teeth. Like we got to do this for our field too, especially because we're so used to caring so much for other people. And then I have one of my favorite ways to work is deeply one-on-one with a few people. So if that really speaks to people, that's Shadow Gold Alchemy. But then healers all around the world of all different types of currency can get into, it's the Higher Love Family membership. It's just $33 a month. And we do activations and we're listening to the body and integrations and meditations every month. So you can check that out too. And again, it's a place where so many, I think people are used to just they're holding space for so many others. And it's a space for you to be held and receive.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you for that work, and thank you for that space, and for your energy, and just for being here today. I am so grateful for
Thank you
your
so
words
much.
and your wisdom.
This message is like they're hitting me. I'm like, all right, I'll say it. There's one last thing that wants to be presenced here. Some people's bodies, I think one of them's on this call, have actually oracular, like oracle abilities that went underground generations ago because it was not safe to have them. So for some of you listening, your body will have an extra set of defenses to not let anyone in on the fact that it actually has psychic abilities, things like that, because they were weaponized, they were persecuted, they were not at the soul level, it's in the body itself. Some lineages have that. For some reason, that just really, there we go. I feel a shift in the field. It just wanted more safety for the bodies that have that as being called out, because we need your gifts at this time.
Well, and if somebody has shut that down, is that again just listening to your body, or is there something that needs to happen to open that back up?
Well, yeah. So like, first of all, the body will just tell you, like, it's not safe to have this on air. No, this is you're, and so you have to really listen to the body and what it has to say about all of that, and work it from the bottom up, not the top down.
Okay.
It keeps going back to really listening to our bodies. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. I am so very grateful. This conversation, we're going to be talking about this conversation a lot. I can tell you already. I'm already like, how much charge I got left on my phone. But thank you so much. And I am so glad that you're healing, and that I know that was a big experience, and your vitality and your love, and you're just radiating. And I'm so grateful that you made it through that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being in curiosity instead of just shutting that down.
Wasn't my time. In fact, that was part of my qualifying credential for the rest of my time.
Okay.
I always ask the universe, please be very gentle with me. Please be gentle. Please be gentle. Well, until next time, we thank you for being connected, and we hope we stay connected. Oh my gosh, that was so good. I know we're out of time, but let's just take a moment.
Right? I'm going to take another breath.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I got
so good.
Yes, I got so.
Girl, I know we got to talk offline. I felt called out a couple of times, but
you.
The one thing about knowing each other's stories, it's like, oh, is she looking at you? Is she looking at me?
Yep. Some of the things she was saying, I was like, okay, that's not mine. I know that's Christine. Then some stuff I was like, oh, okay, I'll write this down.
So we have to compare notes and think and see who we thought was whose. That's gonna be funny. I know. Anything you want to shout out to our listeners that you want to let? I know y'all have the big Interplay BIPOC retreat coming. That's kind of closed though already, right?
Yeah, I think registration is passed, but I could be wrong. If you go to interplay.org, it's still up on the rotating header. It says BIPOC Retreat. If you are a member of the BIPOC community and you're interested in learning how to use the wisdom of the body, learn how to unlock the wisdom of the body, learning how to play in community, we are having a BIPOC Retreat weekend, May 22nd through 24th. So that's just in a couple of weeks. And it's $350 for the weekend. That's all inclusive, your food, your lodging, and all of the play. So would love for if registration is still open, would love for folks to come.
You better check it out today. I will put it in the show notes, but like today or tomorrow at the latest. And then the week after that, Sheila and I have an Art of Grieving retreat that is happening in Pennsylvania, same location, which is wild. Right? So I was also thinking about that with energetics and what's going on in that part of the world, because that did not happen on purpose. And so I have curiosity about that. But I will put that link in there too. And we have a couple of spots open, and you're welcome to join us. So, but in the meantime, y'all, first of all, Cecile, thank you so much for being here. I think this was perfect. I can't wait for our after chat. And I'm just so thrilled about this whole thing. But
me too.
So grateful. Thank you for being connected. Thank you for being one of our women connected in wisdom. And until we talk again, our listeners, be well, be wise, and be whole.